Projects, research projects. How do I start? In terms of topic and relationship with my supervisor. This is an area of serious interest for young researchers. And that is why I want to take you through this in the next few minutes. You're most welcome to this channel once again, and I want to hope you have subscribed to this channel. If you have not, kindly do that. So, when it comes to research, a lot of young researchers, early career, persons are seriously confused on how to start because it's been a very big challenge, an uphill task. And so the question is, what do I do now? I need to do my research. The question is, how do I start? Now I need to do my research. And where do I start? People can be running around this kind of question and time will be flying. And maybe this research work is expected to be done within a particular time. And so it becomes a huge challenge. Can I start by reminding you that research is a skill we all need. You need research skill, and that is why you are listening and watching this video. Thank you for coming. And I want to remind you that you are actually a born research. You were born with research skill. Let me prove it to you. We may not have known what happened when we were children, but when you watch a little child who is actually breastfeeding, this child could wake up, but the eyes are still closed, and he has a way of locating the mother. And that is what we do. Children are, you look at little children, you see that research skill in them. But as we grow up, with time we begin to lose this skill. We lose it based on circumstances, based on things that are happening. As a baby growing up, you keep making research and demanding what you need. And it gets to a point where people around will shun you and say, stop saying that. You don't need this, you don't need that. And then you begin to unlearn that skill. And that is why you get to a point in your growth, in your academics, in your career, you will now need to go back and relearn that skill. And so those of you who are doing university programs like MSc, like BSc, like PhD, research projects was actually designed to give you an opportunity to relearn that research skill which you lost as you were growing up. You were born with it, but you lost it. And so this is an opportunity to relearn that research skill. All right? And as you do that, you contribute in one way or the other to body of knowledge. And that is why I feel very, very uncomfortable when I see students who outsource their research projects. You know what they are doing? You actually paid school fees to learn how to do this research. And then you get to that point, whether because of phobia, whether because of one challenge or the other, you decide to pay someone else to do this research for you. You're actually saying, I don't want to learn what I have paid for, and I'm paying another person to make sure I don't learn it. Wow, that is not a good one. So I want to encourage you to build up your mind, make up your mind that you will do your research by yourself. In doing that, there is a learning experience. And you learn it, you run with it. If you skip that which you need to learn, it will wait for you somewhere else. Otherwise, that gap will exist in your life and in your career. So, what is the starting point? How do I find a topic or an idea to champion? Well, I want to say that you can find an idea or a topic around your interest in life. Whatever is your interest in doing the program you are doing, you can begin to look for a way of generating an idea, a research idea around that your interest. As a professional in the making in your area, what is it you will want to champion in that your discipline? You can build an idea around it. Or maybe your current career, you are working somewhere and your work is related to what you are studying, you can decide to find an idea around that your current career. Some of my students I supervised, before we start talking about the project we are going to run, I try to know my students, what they do or what they plan to do. If I know what you plan to do and you are not already working, we can see a way of coining an idea, research idea around what you want to do in future. Because your interests at a point will be what will sustain you in that research. For those who seems to be blank, supervisors can provide an area of research interest. And if you're a bit blank, don't just meet your supervisor without any idea. You will sound very unserious. What you need to do is to go and search out your supervisor. Luckily, many of us who are lecturers have presence online. Go and type the name of your supervisor somewhere online in Google, and then check out your supervisor, the research the person has done in the recent time. That may give you an idea of an area of interest of your supervisor. So you may decide to coin your topic around that area. The supervisor may be happy because if that is an area of his growth, to supervise you along that area of his or her interest. All right? But then that will also be a way of advancing the empire of your supervisor. If indeed you have your area, please champion it. If you don't, run with your supervisor is actually a training arrangement. As you do that, you will learn the skills so that with time, if you have your own idea, you can run it yourself. So you check the publication of your supervisor, you check the topic they have, he or she has written in the recent time, and even the methods they are using can be a good idea on where to coin your topic from. All right? So how do I find topic? This is still what we are trying to explore here. You can search literature. If you have got an idea on what to do, maybe you want to study something, I'm just being careful not to give you words. Whatever you want to study, see what you do. You can go to different university websites and search for lecturers in that department, in that course. You can get their name, search their name on Google Scholar. If you search their name on Google Scholar, you will see the researches they have done. And when you see those researches, that could be a pointer, that could guide you. You see what people have been doing in the recent time in that area. And then it could be a suggestion on an idea to champion. All right, think about their claims, what they claim that they found that in their results. That is summarized in the abstract. So if I pick up any research work and I look at abstract, for those who do research very well, abstract has structures. It tells you about the topic and the objective. It tells you about the method and the findings. These are three key things an abstract at least must offer you. So if you look at that abstract, you can see the result the person got. All right? That could be a suggestion. I will tell you how to query that kind of result. All right? Then you explore trying to understand the reason behind this research they have done. Okay? Now, you think about that result they have gotten, and you may want to ask these 4 questions. If I'm looking at your abstract and I've seen the results you have gotten and the method you have used, I will ask 4 questions, and that could be a suggestion to me on what to champion. Number 1, you have got a result. Yes, that's a good one. So, if then, what next? Given this result this person got here, what next? Is that the final thing? Or is there something else we can do? So I'll check the implication of that your result. The implication can suggest what next I can do. All right? Or I will say, what if that method was not used? Which other method can be used to repeat this same research this person has done? All right? Somebody used maybe 200 rats, a particular species of rats, to examine certain things as control and as treated. What if I decide to use another animal? What if I decide to expand the number of period of the treatment? So you check the method. That could give you an idea on what to do. And then you could also ask this question: what else can be done? Yes, this person has done this. So what else can we do in this regard? or you ask this other one. This they have done here. Somebody did a research in the West on women empowerment in the West. And then you ask yourself, what if I repeat this in the Southeast? What if I repeat it in the North? What if I repeat it in other regions? What if I decide to study the whole country in terms of this women empowerment? Yeah, a lot of people talk about women empowerment. What if I decided to research about men empowerment? So you check the geographical, locations and see a change can be another area of research, or even a group that has been treated can be a change of that group can be another area of research. So these four things can be a good guide for you. And so once you have been able to do that and you start your research, okay, once you start your research, you think you can add something new in the existing body of knowledge. Okay? So what I want to say in essence is that make sure you don't redo what people have done. Just a change of variable. Somebody studied 3 or 5 variables and I decide to study 6. That's a different work altogether. Somebody studied a particular area and the data point stopped at 2020 and I decided to extend it to 2023. That's a different research altogether. And then, so you check these areas. And as you do that, you'll be able to make a little contribution in the existing body of knowledge. All right? Now, a key thing you need is what I call research plan. Research plan can be so explicit. It can be so comprehensive. It can also be a sketch. On the back of an envelope, I can quickly sketch what my research plan will look like. All right? It will be a guide to you. How do I start? What do I do? What do I do? When do I know I have finished this? So if you have a research plan, it will guide you and give you direction on what to do. And that is why people who do research a lot know that research plan is key for successful research. I've got some grants to implement. And many donors, when they advertise and make an invitation for a call for expression of interest, the first thing they want to do is, what is the research plan here? So I'll quickly look at what they want to do, find a way of designing my research plan to fit their expectation. And if you get the research plan proper, you will likely be invited for further discussion. Sometimes it's not even all about the budget. The budget, they might have budgeted certain amounts. Maybe they want to spend only $2,000 here for this research. But you design your plan and it's quite impressive. And by the time you submit your budget could be $2,500. But because they have found interest and believe in that your structure, they will run with you. So whether you are doing your thesis or doing a funded research, try to sketch what is called research plan. The heart of research plan is research proposal. If you're able to draft a proposal, and that is why many foreign universities will want to request from a research proposal from any student coming from postgraduate study. They want to be sure that you already have an idea what to run, and it becomes key for them. Now, in research proposal, although it could be very complex and the form can vary, there are common elements expected. And these elements are represented in the graph you are seeing here. You should be able to identify clearly the problem you want to address. So once you tell me your project topic, the question I ask in my mind is, what problem is this person trying to solve here? And make sure it's related to the area where you want to obtain your degree. I remember in my MSc days, when I was doing my master's, a senior colleague, did her presentation and it was turned down. I saw her weeping. And what was the problem? She was studying, running a program in MSc in economics. By the time she presented her proposal, the department looked at it and said, young lady, this topic will not be approved because you are not solving an economic problem. You are solving management problem. And so she had to go back to pick a new topic and started afresh. All right, so it can be so frustrating if you get your problem wrong. Identify your problem clear. When that problem is clear, you identify the objective you want to achieve. There could be several problems. A problem could be that I want to help to address youth unemployment. Yes, that is youth unemployment, but I can't address youth unemployment everywhere. So I may decide to look at a local government as my objective. And then, what is the method I'm going to use to address it? In trying to identify your problem, you may need to read literature. You scan through literature. You scan through, that's part of what I was saying earlier. It could be your supervisor's literature. It could be other literature people have done in that area of interest. A friend of mine met me and said, look, he's trying to do something on robotic, research on robotic. And he didn't know how to start. I said, okay, go for faculty members, that is lecturers who have done such research. If you get their name, go to Google, go to their university website or go to Google Scholar, get the list of what they have done, scan through it. You are not reading in details. I can have 20 of such literature and scan through it in the next 2 hours just because you are looking for something. You are trying to see the problem they've tried to solve, and that problem, can it give you a problem to solve somewhere? So you do literature review in trying to define your problem. Even to select a good topic, you may need to research through literature. As you are doing that, you design what looks like a conceptual framework. Graphically, how does the interaction be, in the variables you want to manage, what is the interaction among them? And then as you are doing that, that theoretical framework will inform the method you will use. The literature you are reviewing will inform the method you use. The literature you reviewed will strengthen your objective, and it will also help to sharpen your statement of problems. So these things are very, very interactive in nature. And so what about the project topic here? Project topic, in terms of title, should be able to describe your main focus. All right? It shouldn't be too long, longer than necessary, no. But it should be able to detail, to give in a nutshell an idea of what you want to study. Okay? Let me give you an example. See this write-up in red here. Someone presented this as a project topic. This looks very clumsy. An economic study of the implications of lowering import tariffs on food items on consumers, manufacturers, and food traders in Nigeria. That is complex. I tried to see how to trim it to something manageable, and I got the first one. I said, okay, it could be lowering import tariffs on food items in Nigeria, effects on consumers and industries. Or it could be effects of lowering food item import tariff on consumers and industries in Nigeria. This is straight to the point. So don't make your topic so clumsy that you get yourself confused and trapped into the unknown world. Now, identification of your problem and the explanation. As much as possible, describe the problem you want to address in terms of holistic problem, a wider view of the problem. All right, and then narrow down to the particular problem you want to address. And in this doing that, you provide rationale. Why are you studying that thing? Who will benefit from it? And so 2 key steps that are involved is to generate what is called a general perspective, a broad view of the problem area. Like I mentioned, youth unemployment is a huge area. Okay, my focus could be on how to close up the gap in youth unemployment using ICT. All right, so that becomes my focus area. But the global issue I'm solving is youth unemployment. All right, so make it clear as much as possible. When you are writing statement of problem, by the way, I have a video on how to write statement of problem, especially those in economics and management and other social sciences. Check that video on my YouTube channel, and you will find about 4 steps on how to do that. But here I just want to show you 4 key questions you may need to address in trying to write the statement of problem. 1, what do we know about this problem? This problem of youth unemployment, for instance, what do we know about it? Somebody is trying to solve the issue of a particular crop, the nutritional content of a particular crop. What do we know about the nutritional content? You state that thing. What do we know about it? All right. What is it we need to know? Yeah, people have said it's curing this particular disease. Is there any other disease we need to examine? All right. Why do we need to know it? If we know it, it's going to solve a problem somewhere. What and how do we want to find out the result? And that is your research. You quickly tell briefly the method you want to use. All right. So if you look at these three questions and try to address it, it could give you 3 paragraphs that summarize statement of 4 paragraphs that summarize statement of problem. And it's important to make sure that this statement of problem you can actually be extracted looking at 3 key areas in terms of knowledge gap. All right, where people stop, you want to expand it, or in terms of omitted group, people have treated this group and there's a group that has not been treated. Then conflicts in findings, people don't agree in what is the result here, and your challenge is to make sure that you provide maybe an addition to the debate. You may not have agreed with anybody. All right, and in doing that, there are 3 things that must agree in your research. One is your research question should agree with your objective, and the objective agrees with hypothesis. If these 3 does not agree, you are doing disjointed thesis. And then anytime you start your research, please keep an eye on the references. Make sure that the sources of your information you are keeping it somewhere. If you look at my video on how to write literature review, you will see how I do it. Normally, if I want to do my literature review and I open a folder, I download all the materials I need in that folder, I open a Word file. When I scan through each of the material, I extract what I need and put in the Word file together with the reference. So peradventure, I finally use any of them in my work. I know all the references are in this file. It becomes easier to compile them at the end of the research. And then I've talked about research plan. But you need to know that research plan should also be flexible. As you progress in this research, additional information that you will have access to can make you modify what you are doing. When I did my MSc research, I proposed a particular method to use, but I was already foreseeing that method may collapse somewhere. So I provided an option, and if this method doesn't work, I will split the method into 2 to still achieve my objective. So be a bit flexible. It's not a straitjacket that you must fit into. So as you progress, you may find need to modify it. So in a way of summarizing what I've discussed so far, the basic steps in research thesis is that you choose a topic, and I've shared with you how to choose topic. All right, you review literature that will strengthen the area of interest you are identifying. You collect your data if it's needed. Those who are in literature, those who are in humanities, they may rather be reviewing literature instead of collecting data. So collecting the material you're going to review is part of your literature collection, and other material you may want to compare the thesis, the idea of this write-up with. That could be part of the data you are collecting. And then you see how to generate your results and finish up your thesis. And when you finish it up, take time to reverse it. Take time to review it. Reading through it to be sure that it agrees as one body of knowledge. I want to summarize with working with a supervisor. The first impression you make with your supervisor matters a lot. Please don't meet your supervisor for the first time without being prepared. It shows a sign of unseriousness. It gives the supervisor impression that you are not serious here. All right, so if I were you, well, the first meeting could be to exchange pleasantry. But before that, if you already have an idea, because it asks you, so what do you want to work on? You say, sir, I will go and research and come back. It leaves that person with an impression that this guy is not ready. But if you said, what do you want to work on? He said, sir, I am interested in ABC. However, C seems to be so interested to me, and I found out that you have done a similar work. I actually reviewed your literature on so and so topic, and I found it interesting. But you did this area, and I'm interested in doing this area. you can be sure you are leaving that person with a very wonderful impression. All right? So find out his previous work, and then that could guide you in preparing to meet your supervisor for the first time. If you are weak in research, it is not an excuse for a poor job. Look for supportive friends who can guide you. All right? And then equip yourself with a learner's mindset if you want to work with a supervisor. You may think you know better than that person. Please calm down. Equip yourself with learner's mindset, and that will go a long way helping you to learn what you need to learn. And then each time you come for a meeting, whether it's physical meeting or an online meeting, listen very well. Take notes. If it's physical, take notes, write down something. All right? Ask for clarification if need be. And if you have to communicate with email, make sure you are professional. I see some students, they will just attach their file and send to the supervisor. It's not proper. If I'm sending my supervisor my work, I should put a forwarding mail to say, sir, hope this meets you well, whichever way you want to start the greeting. Attached is the chapter 2 of my work. I have done the key corrections you identified in ABC session. I am working on so and so. Thank you very much. Make something, a covering letter attached to it. It shows that you are serious. And not just your supervisor. If you work in an office, don't just attach mail and send to your boss. Include a forwarding mail to support what you are submitting. Always strive to meet deadline. If your supervisor has not given you any, set deadline for yourself. This is to make sure you don't run projects endlessly. Your supervisor continues supervising you and you seem not to be graduating. The person will be fed up and will abandon that work. So try to work with deadlines, okay? Be also appreciative of constructive criticisms. If you bring an idea and your supervisor says, I don't think it's going to work, or no, stop that, do this. Please don't show that you are angry. Appreciate that effort. All right? Don't always also compare your supervisor with someone else. Maybe someone is guiding you, a colleague in that department. He says, sir, yes, this thing you are saying, Professor so told me it should be this way. If you do that, you are shooting your leg in the foot. Just present yourself like it's your independent idea here. All right? And then working with supervisors sometimes can be a very unique opportunity to learn, and also to not to learn certain things. You learn the positive things, and you don't learn the things you think is proper. You should be able to take decision as a mature person. All right? Sometimes it can be so frustrating working with some supervisors. Yes, that is understandable, because they are the people that will challenge your ideas. They will criticize your ideas on a regular basis. So if you're not careful, you will see yourself almost trying to oppose, or feel oppressed by such kind of activity. But if you come with a learner's mindset, it will help you to learn, especially when the person is sincerely criticizing the work. If the person is not sincerely criticizing it, try to play low and try to learn what you need to learn, and do not learn the other aspects you don't need to learn. Each supervisor has a very unique way or different way of running his or her supervising activity. Your ability to understand your supervisor, the way he thinks, the way he communicates, and still maintain good professional relationship with that supervisor is part of your training in your BSc, in your MSc, in your PhD, or any other program you are doing. All right, so try to understand your supervisor and run a professional relationship as much as possible. That will go a long way, making you the better person you need to be as you graduate from your program. On that note, I want to say a very big thank you for joining us in this discussion, and I do hope you will subscribe to this channel as we continue to update you with seminars that will keep building your skill until you become the professional you are born to be. Thank you very much. Cheers. Take care.